Today, I want to show you one of the toughest, one of the most serious watches that Omega makes. It has a heritage dating back over 50 years, and it is one of the most uncommon models in the brand lineup. You are unlikely to ever see this watch in the wild. It is the Omega Ploprof Summer Blue. Now, Ploprof stands for Plongeur Professionnel, or professional diver, and that's exactly what it is. Everything about this watch seems overbuilt and engineered with the saturation diver in mind. Thank you to Exquisite Timepieces for sending in this, it's not quite a new release, but it's just starting to hit the stores, sending in this Ploprof Summer Blue for a review. Exquisite is a family-owned Omega authorized dealer. They carry over 60 brands. They're an awesome AD. I've worked with them for years. I've bought from them many times. So I recommend Exquisite if you're shopping Omega, and a link is in the description. Now, it took Omega about a year after announcing this watch for it to finally start hitting the authorized dealers. So I'm not a fan of that type of product to consumer delay, but I am a big fan of this watch. And the fact that Omega still makes it, despite the fact that it's not a big seller, I think that's a great thing. I look at this watch and I'm reminded of the concept of a sports car. There's a definite market for sports cars, but not a huge market. It's not a moneymaker for the automotive brand. It's a complete luxury performance-based product, but it's a very fun product. And I see this Ploprof in a very similar way. This is not driving the success for Omega. This is a complete luxury performance-based product that's just intended to put a smile on your face. Now, what's special about this new version? What makes it different, if anything, from being just a pretty blue colorway? Well, a few things set it apart. This is a new case. It's now a monoblock style case that is crafted from Omega steel. Omega steel is Omega's proprietary steel alloy. It's brighter, it's stronger, it's more scratch resistant than the steel that you would find in a Seamaster or Aquaterra or Planet Ocean. Omega steel is currently only found in the Ploprof and in the Ultra Deep, which coincidentally are Omega's most capable dive watches. Now, this version has a very nicely done laser engraved Seamaster logo that's placed in the center of this monoblock case back. And this design shows Poseidon with two different seahorses. One is the design from 1956, and the other design is today's modern interpretation. Now, this has a helium release valve that's now placed at the 5 position on this asymmetrical case, and that's a new spot for the Ploprof. This is how you operate the highly protected crown. It's a little bit different from my past experience with the Ploprof, and so being right-handed, I find it easier to flip the watch upside down and use my dominant hand. So you unthread the crown, or what you think is the crown. It pops out at the end of the threads, but you'll notice the large knurled crown, so to speak, that you've been unthreading is not the true crown. The true crown is smaller, it's signed, and that's what you use to wind the movement, set the time, hack the balance, or if you'd like to use the time zone hours complication. Once you're done with any of those features, to put this back into position, you simply press this smaller signed crown toward the case and then use this larger textured thread down crown and lock it into position like so. So I really like the way this is designed, and it's just very secure, very over-engineered, very purpose-built. Now, the bezel is also a novelty. To move the bezel in either direction, you have to hold down this large blue push button. If the push button is not engaged, the bezel will not spin in either direction. And when it is pushed down, I have to say the action is very nice, and the traction you get on the bezel is also great because of how tall the bezel is. There's a lot of area for you to grip regardless of whether or not you're wearing dive gloves. Now, the bezel cover is sapphire, and all the indexing underneath the cover is lumed, and the lume is excellent. I find it a highlight of this watch. And like all Omega divers, the lume has a bicolor application. So everything except the minute hand, the bezel, triangle, and pip is done in a cyan blue, but the minute hand and that bezel, triangle, and pip is done in green. And again, Omega did a really nice job on the lume. Now, other aspects of this watch include dual applied ARC on the top as well as the underside of this flat flame fusion sapphire crystal. The watch has 1,200 meters or 4,000 feet of water resistance. It has a META-certified 8912 coaxial movement that does have the time zone hours complication, and that is my favorite complication. It's my favorite movement that Omega currently makes. This also has a blue isofrane style rubber strap that is period correct for the design. It's also nice and long for those of us that have larger wrists. Now, the watch weighs in at 182 grams, which is incredibly heavy for a diver that's set on a rubber strap. Normally, you only approach that amount of weight if you have a hefty bracelet to pair with the case, and I love the weight. I'm not afraid of this size. I'm not afraid of this weight. In fact, if I were to buy this, I would at times place it on mesh like the prior Ploprof for even more weight on the wrist. When you have a watch like this that's uncommon, tough, and straight up cool, all pretense should go out the window. Don't try to make it practical. Don't put it under a cuff. Wear it loud, wear it proud, whenever and wherever you wish. And I'm not going to try to fool you and say that this wears, like a dream and small and whatnot. It doesn't. It's a big, heavy watch, though I will say the lug tip to lug tip dimension is surprisingly short. So if you have a taste for large sporty watches, you could absolutely pull this off without issue. Now, this is the kicker. This watch is not cheap. It retails for $14,300, which I think is a lot for a stainless steel Omega product, especially one that likely won't ever be dailied by the buyer. You could absolutely daily this if you wanted to. I just don't think many buyers are going to daily a Ploprof. But then again, this is a straight up luxury product, and I don't believe it's intended for the masses. This is much like a performance sports car. It has its niche in the market. It's incredibly fun, and like a performance sports car, I do aspire to own one of these Omega Ploprofs in the future.